We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 1970, and today we are talking about how to complete land improvements that actually create equity right from your desk.
I wonder what people say when they're like someone else that's starting, oh, I'm sorry, I just cut off your whole thing.
It's not
that's
first
normal.
Time. Not the first time at all.
Okay.
This is my life, by the way.
Please finish your intro, and then I'll
verbally
stop
cut off
it.
by Jill. Jill has something to say, so we all have to stop our sentences, stop our thought process.
It's going to be one of those days. Yay.
We've got a couple of topics today. Number one, how to complete your land improvements that create equity from your desk. We're going to talk about splitting up property, taking one APN and creating 4 or 5. And then a little later in the episode, we'll talk about why your brand is so important in your land business. Jack, what are you talking about? I don't have a brand. I'm buying land and reselling it, and I'm doing it through a real estate agent on the south side. What am I branding? Well, we'll talk all about it.
Am I allowed to say something now?
Yeah, because that's what it says right in the script here. Now it's Jill's turn.
Thanks a lot. That's hilarious. No, I'm just thinking about my original thought was, as we creep up towards like the 2000 podcast mark, I wonder how intimidating that is for other people that are like, I'm starting a podcast. And do they even do that now? It used to be a thing for a while, right? I think it was pre-COVID and then COVID. Everybody's like, we're doing a podcast. Everybody's like, I'm doing a podcast with my mom, like dreaming up. And I don't hear that anymore. Do you think it's still a thing? Are there a bunch of new ones?
I don't think anyone's intimidated by our podcast. I'll tell you that.
Based on the talent that does it?
Based on the content.
Oh, that too. Based on the age.
Yep.
The gray hair. Mm-hmm. The goofiness.
That's correct.
The dream it. Yeah, I'm sure you got a lot more you guys can all share.
Each week on the show, we answer questions from our Land Academy member Discord forum. We review land acquisitions from our weekly member webinars, and we take a deep dive into 2 land-related topics by popular request. If you want a sneak peek of our Discord forum, and I highly encourage you to do this, go to landacademy.com. It's free. It's in real time, and it's all of our members talking to each other about the deals they're doing.
You don't get to see all of it, by the way. You get parts of it that you can see, but it's cool. So, and also, don't forget, if you want us to answer your questions or you just want some help getting involved in our community, you could just simply send us a text. It's that easy. The number is 480-530-7383. My team reads them all, and your question just might pop up here. So here's today's question. Mike wrote, regarding funding partnerships, I have a few friends with deep pockets. Let's just call them A, B, C, and D. Isn't that great?
Deep pockets friends.
Aren't those awesome? I love having friends like that.
Hey, Jill and I could be your
deep
pockets. We could be E.
We're E. Or maybe we're A. I hope we're A. So, let me add it first. All good. And they want to invest in my land deals. No kidding, because word's getting out that you're doing well. Got it. So how are you structuring deals that include more than one person/entity on the funding side? I'm considering creating LLCs for each of these partnerships, like A and me, B and me, so on. But what if there's 2 people involved on the funding side, like A and B and me kind of thing?
This is like a narcissistic nursery rhyme.
This is funny, I know. Typically, I would get... I'm thinking of all that. That made me think of like a Dr. Seuss thing.
Yep,
but
exactly.
Anyway,
that's what I mean.
Yeah. Funder A, Funder B, Funder C, and me. All get rich.
That's the end of the story.
Yeah. That's it. There we go. All right.
How would that go? I structured it all wrong.
Funder A, Funder B, Funder C, and me.
I structured it all wrong.
I found the deal. It's a steal.
And made money anyway.
Yeah.
I did everything wrong and still got rich.
And and I got equity for free. I like this. I could totally write this children's book. It's a land flipping children's book. That's my new thing.
Oh my God,
Here
that's
it comes.
a brilliant idea.
Right? This is what you read to your kids, like, this is what daddy does and mommy does. And this is what you're going to do. It's called investor. Everybody repeat after me. Investor. Yes, we're going to learn to write that word before we write our name.
This is not crazy.
No, it's not. I know a lot of people in Land Academy that are doing this with their kids, planting the seed. Come on, well, you know who you are. You have your 7-year-old helping doing stuff, Ike, and other people. So it's awesome. All right.
Make your kids lick the envelopes until they pass out.
Oh, no, they'll never have to do that because they're learning the right way. All right, so back to the question. So he says, typically, I would get half of the profit and the partner would get the other half. So, 50-50. So with 2 investors share 50, do we split it 3 ways? What are the legal tax implications in any of this? I'm going to add, if any. I want to make sure everything is done legally and everyone is protected. Just looking for advice on how others are handling this. I'm willing to spend money to talk to a lawyer to get it set up, but what's some ideas going in? Can I answer first?
Yeah, I have a lot to say.
Yeah, because I have a perfect example of what we're in a deal right now, just like this. I think there's 5 of us, and in the same, it's our same 2-page purchase, our same 2-page kind of
Partnership agreement.
that you have as a member of Land Academy. So it's this, instead of 2 companies on there, there's 5. And in that, what we spelled out is what each person put in. Like if you put in 40% of the acquisition and you put in 20 and you put in 10 and someone put in 5, whatever it is, that's the same percentage they get back. On the profit side. So that's number 1. And then part 2. So, and it doesn't have to be that legal. We don't need LLCs. We don't need any of that stuff. And by the way, some of them are LLCs. So in our agreement, it has our LLC name, another LLC name, personal person name, LLC name. So we can mix them all together too, by the way. We have an agreement where all of our names are on the deeds, and that's the right way too. And then the final part is written in our agreement, not in nothing that escrow or anybody needs to know about this, but this is part of the agreement with all the people participating. Who's calling the shots? And it's basically at our deal, the individual who found the deal as a manager, they're calling the shots. And I'm guessing we're the biggest investor. We're number 2 there. But anyway, we all agreed that that person and us would call the shots on what we're going to accept, how long we're going to let this hang out there, and that kind of a thing. But because you have to have because if you have all 5 of you have to be on the same page at the same time, and when it sells, that's going to be a nightmare. So we have 2 people calling the shots. However, this person and I, the manager and I, don't do anything flippantly, and we do include everybody. Like, hey guys, this is what we think. I want to get your input before we do it. What?
No, man, I don't. You lost me at calling the shots.
Oh, do you understand that part?
Here's the thing.
Okay.
If you need to finish, go ahead. We'll wait.
I wait for you. A little stinker today.
Listen,
go ahead.
Mike, this is a very smart question, and I know you want to protect yourself and structure all of this correctly, which is very wise. But here's the thing, and please, this is the whole point to all of this. This is why I included this question among many, many, many questions I could have chosen. Every single one of these deals is different, no matter how you try to put them into a box and use the same box or an LLC or deal structure for each of these transactions. It's not going to happen. Jill and I still with each other, still structure deals based on the circumstances. So for you to have these people in your back pocket is fantastic. And for you to want to know what the legal implications are and how to structure these deals is fantastic. To directly answer your questions, there's no SEC reporting required in any way. And I would not, this is my opinion, get a lawyer involved in this. Correct. Because lawyers are a lot less intelligent than you think. You're the best person to structure this. So you're going to get a deal in. You're either going to bring it in by sending out mail, or you're going to get it in from somebody who found a great deal and needs money from you. In general, the partnership agreement that we have works. Mm-hmm. Really, the variable in that agreement is how the parties are structured. So if somebody brings us a deal to fund, Jill and I have separate LLCs. We have one LLC where we're 50-50 owners, and depending on the situation, we may partner with that person with one of the LLCs that we have. And so what goes on the agreement, there's two parties. The party that brings it to us, we call them the manager, and the funder, we call that, which is what we are. So we've got Jill and Jack LLC as one of the partners, and the person who brought, John Smith, who brought the deal to us. What you do not want to do, and I want everyone to really remember this, you never really want to do this unless you're like so far down the road professionally that
I was going to bring this up. I know.
You don't want to have two people on an LLC.
Yeah.
You do not want to do A and me and B and me and any of that. It's a
complicated.
One of the beautiful things about real estate is that two people as joint tenants can own a piece of real estate. I can own joint tenants with rights of survivorship, a piece of dirt with Jill. If I pass away, immediately and without action, Jill owns all of it. Mm-hmm. Unless I stipulate in some crazy way and take title differently, so that, if I had separate heirs, then I don't want to really get into that. But this is very, very not complicated, especially with real estate. If it was a company, if you had a metal stamping plant and you wanted a partnership with somebody, you would probably have to be on an LLC with two people. But this is real estate. Mm-hmm. You don't need to do any of this.
Don't do any of that.
None of it.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I was going to bring that up too. So what Jack's kind of saying is, hey, you have A, B, C, and D, and 3 years pass, and you and C are buddy, and now all of a sudden it's only you and C and you and C and you and C, and you guys decide, let's take this home together. All right, let's make an LLC with both of our names on it, and then we just ride off into the sunset. Like
there's four. There's you
happily and romantically every day.
It's all peaches
without
and cream
conflict ever.
What's going to end up happening is there's 5 parties here, you and then A, B, C, and D. One's going to be a dingbat. One's going to do no work at all. That would be me. And one's going to do all the work, which is probably you.
Which would be me. No.
So you don't want to find this stuff out later and have to undo an LLC, and you guys all own 10 properties together, and it's just deed the property. Each property that comes in, deed it how you think you should deed it.
I appreciate you, Mike, trying to think ahead and be
me too, and
be really aware of doing it the right way. And I hope it's a relief to you to hear that you're going too far. You don't have to think that hard. You're like, oh, good, dodge that bullet. So
it costs about $50 to create an LLC, by the way, in about 15 minutes
in certain states. I would like to add, before we start the topic today, we are entering month 4 right now. We're beginning, as this airs, actually, as we are recording, and this airs in September 2023, we are entering month 4 of being on the road together.
I have deeper love for you than when we started, Jill.
I don't even want you to expand on that.
Jill and I have been living about 10 yards.
The deeper meaning the hole you're going to dig for me?
About 10 yards away from each other in 350 square feet for about 4 months. That's my take on it. You can coat that with sugar how you'd like.
All right, back to the topic.
Today's first topic: how to complete land improvements and create equity right from your desk. What the heck does that mean? How many people have seen HGTV? All of us. And their HGTV is packed full of shows with people. Sometimes they're brothers, sometimes they're mother and daughter, sometimes they're married, buying buying a house, and sometimes even knocking it down and renovating it. That's improvements. And all with the hopes of the final product being worth more than the sum of all the parts. So in that scenario, you buy a house for $100,000 that's fallen down, you renovate it for $100,000, you've got $200,000 into it, you try to sell it for $300,000, and then you win. And hopefully the home buyer wins because it's all decorated pretty and all that stuff. I personally believe 98%, maybe 100% of the numbers that they share on those shows is complete garbage. I don't believe any of them, because Jill and I have renovated houses, and by some stroke of massive luck, we're still together because it's awful. Many people join Land Academy because they're recovering house improvers. So what's the answer? The answer is to buy a piece of land and try to achieve the same outcome. The final product is worth more than all the money that you put into it. So here's an example. Here's an example of stuff that we do all the time. You buy a property that's maybe 10 acres, 5 acres. Let's say it costs $100,000. It's got an APN, a single APN, and you're fortunate enough to buy it in an area that condones and has a process for minor splitting. And so the end result is one APN becomes 5 APNs with access, and you individually sell those properties for much more, hopefully double or more than you paid for the actual single APN. So you're taking 5 acres and theoretically making it 5 1-acre lots with 5 separate APNs. And maybe you can sell those separate APNs for $50,000 each. You're $100,000 in, and you sell the whole thing, all the APNs to separate people for $250. That's actually, those are real numbers, very real, possible numbers. So how do you do it? Well, the first thing you do is find out where this is possible and feasible. It's not likely that that's going to happen in Los Angeles County or, New York County, where Manhattan is. I think it's New York County. It's very likely that's going to happen in some of the southern states, certainly in Texas, where they're just a little bit more open-minded about real estate, land in general, and its use.
New Mexico.
You don't ever have to leave your desk to do this. Mm-hmm. What you do when you find a county that engages in this kind of thing, there's always a surveyor / I don't know what else you would call this person, but there's a surveyor that offers a service in addition to surveying the land, where they know everybody at the county because they're real local there, and it's usually a rural county, and they can literally walk the process through the county to get those 5 APNs as a result of the survey.
So they do the physical work and they do the legal work. They write all the APN, they write all the new legal descriptions, create the deeds for you to sign, and they get them recorded for you, which is cool.
Exactly. Well said. And I've never paid personally more than $10,000 for this whole process. $10,000 is on the real high side. You can get it done for a lot less than that by a surveyor. But you want to make sure, if you have 3 or 4 choices on a surveyor, ask the county, ask planning and zoning, the person at planning and zoning, even the recorder. Ask them who's the best and who does a great job, and then there's not a lot of mistakes, and they don't have to undo things and all of that. And they're probably going to say, the chances are they're going to give you the name of the person that's the most expensive, because they do it right. Huh. And so
you get what you pay for sometimes.
What's $2,000 or $3,000 difference when you're about to make $250,000?
Isn't that funny?
This is true land improvements. You never, in most cases, you don't have to. Hopefully, you buy a piece of land where all 5 of those properties have access. So it's they're like kind of in a rectangle on a county road. If not, you can plat in, and we've done this both ways. Plat in access. You can create access from the other properties because you control all 5. It's really simple. I've never been required to actually put in improvements, meaning connecting to sewer, putting in a well, all the people. We never do any of that stuff. We just sell it to the person who's an expert at that locally.
Well, that's part of your initial recon too. When you find out in the areas that it's possible, find out what's required to do. And if that is required, now you're going to make some different decisions. You might move to another county or another state.
Exactly. So I'm using, minor splits as an example, 1 APN into 5. There are places in Texas where the same process can happen where you split it into 30 properties. They will have a lot to say about improvements at that point, but the numbers almost always work. You just have to make sure that your budget is correct, that 1 acre out of 5 is going to command the price that you think it is. I
have one and only one issue with this whole thing, seriously.
Well, that's new for you.
And this is the only reason that we're not doing this all the time. What's my one issue?
I have really no idea because I don't see any downside to this.
Time.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it's going to take some time. 6
That's
months
it.
at least. 6 months to a year.
That's the only thing you have to think about. Time. Do you have time to wait for this? Do you have time to work through the things that come up? If you think you're going to do this in 90 days, you got another thing coming.
Well,
and have them bought, split, surveyed, split, deeds recorded and sold. So if you're like, oh, we're going to cash in really fast, buy for 100,000, sell 500,000, it's going to save our company, save our finances in 90 days. Think 9 months. I need you to really think that realistically. So my only thing with this is because of the time, it's such a great thing. But that's what does me in. I'm not that patient. I have a hard time with that. So that's why we don't do these as often as we could and should. And the other thing is, you need to do this in addition to something else. So have this running in the back. If you're doing a minor split, good for you. While you're doing that, please buy and sell a property a week or every 2 weeks or something. So that's going to, keep everything going just as normal.
Totally correct.
Thank you. And I'm done.
Let's take a look at one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar.
Would you do this deal? Lawrence County, Indiana, 3.4 acres, defunct road.
The road's right here.
I'm wondering if even you have access off 4th Street, though. I like that. We'll have title and confirm it's has actual access, no HOA. Accepted offer, $8,500. Comps range from 5 to 15. Waiting to hear back from local agents. It sits behind some houses at the top of a slope. Slope goes down to a creek. Likely very nice views from the top. Not in a flood zone. Say inspect out there to look at appropriate flat area for building potential at the top.
Very rural.
Can I give you my truth time already?
Yes. We're going to see how slopey this is.
Christian knows us. Christian knows what's possible too. Boy, does he know what's possible. So I'm having trouble with the buy for 8,500 and hope to sell between 5 and 15. That means I need to buy for 2,000.
Look at your screen here.
And there's my other reason.
So no.
It's like the houses are up on the ridge, and then that's the hill that the kids ride their bikes down when they're going to the park or to play in the creek.
Yeah. Or fishing.
Yeah.
So
it's
cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know how much these houses are. There's a chance that some weirdo is going to really want this just to fish on.
But we've got these two not built lots, right? Oh, it's a parking lot. What the heck is that?
It's a church. It's a parking lot for church.
Oh, now I really don't want it.
Why?
Wait. Well, the church isn't going to buy it. We got a church in the parking lot.
Yeah, it just goes down. So their only chance here, just like the last property, the duck hunting property, is that some crazy person wants to fish off their own land. If you can fish in that little creek at all.
Right.
I think I would just pass on this altogether. Wouldn't you?
That's what I would do.
Career path.
We are like, oh my gosh, 3 weeks and counting away. As far as I know, I still have a couple seats. Let's see. I can make a couple seats.
I don't know either.
How about that?
It's been really popular this time. We're doing it on Saturday. That's why.
Yeah. And it's a combo group. So, all right, what are you guys talking about? All right, just to recap and to introduce for anyone who's not sure, Career Path is our highest top level. You want to call it mastermind, you want to call it top level coaching, whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. It's an 8-week program taught by us, and it's designed for anyone who is here to make this your career, period. It's very beneficial if you have some real estate background owning a business, been in Land Academy for some time, very beneficial. Is it a deal killer? No. We interview you and we'll make sure. We won't let you get into it unless we're sure that you're a good fit for it. So that's the other thing I want you to know. If you're like, I just heard about land flipping, I think I want to do it and I'm going to do Career Path, I'm going to politely say, let's do some deals first because we need you to catch up to the rest of us. So that's the thing. But again, if you're a prior business owner, there's a lot of the thought stuff that you've already got figured out. We can work with that too. So anyway, it's coming up at the end of September. It's like I said, it's 8 weeks long. It's led directly by Jack and myself. And this one's going to be really cool because it's a combo one where I have a Wednesday group and a Saturday group, and we let you flip-flop between the sessions. So if you loved it on Wednesday, you want to hear it again on Saturday, you sure can. And or you want to show up for all of it, you know.
We also handpicked some people from former that were very vocal and very material in both
who are killing
entertaining and profitable from prior career paths, and they're going to join us too.
Yep.
So every career path gets a lot better.
Yep. We have alumni coming from prior groups.
Yeah.
Things that have, because we started this 3 years ago, I want to say now, and it's very small, very intimate. I put 15 or so people in each group. And that's kind of it. And I do like 2 or 3 a year. That's it.
Yep.
So this is the last one for 2023. If you're interested, you know what? Just send a note to my team. Let's just cut to the chase, and they'll fill you in. Send a note to support@landacademy.com saying, I need to know more about Career Path. I think it's for me.
There you go. Let's take another question posted by one of our members on the Land Academy Discord online community. Again, if you'd like a sneak peek, go to landacademy.com. It's free.
Okay. Troy wrote, hello all. I've been on the fence of joining for a few years now. Finally, Christopher gave me a call, and much like the sellers, it was the right time and the situation to say yes. I own and run a 5-employee auto repair shop, married with 2 kids, 9 and 12. My data scrubbing and prepping using Python and Pandas, which are open source programming, since I learned it to create an engine data comparison web service.
Jeez, Troy, you're going to do
wow.
well. Incredibly
My data is
well
scrubbed
at this.
and prepped by using that. Okay, got it. I knew I wanted to get into real estate, but I wasn't sure how, since I didn't have the time to swing hammers, drive for dollars, or any other time wasting activity. Then came along Jack and Jill, and the greatest epiphany ever. Aww.
So
Yes.
I put this in here because Troy's a perfect Land Academy employee, not only for just Land Academy, but also Career Path. So he's got a business. He's got way down the path of life with children and in marriage. And he's already taken this into his own hands by creating a little micro product for himself to make it easier to scrub data and get the mail out. So
This is awesome.
He's innately trying to make it efficient by not driving for dollars, doing anything else that really is incredibly unnecessary. And he had this light bulb went off of over his head. I've been having this thought recently about how much I love land and real estate, and I know Joe's right there. In fact, it was probably one of the first 5 conversations you and I ever had together back in the day, just about real estate.
Yeah.
And so I've recently come across some people that are doing pretty well buying and selling land, but they don't care they don't care and have any real interest in the difference between Tennessee and Oregon. And I have a real interest in what those differences are for a lot of reasons. It's not because I want to judge them or anything negative. It's a hobby. I think land and little microcultures and communities that surround the land and how they use it and whether or not they allow minor splits or what they do with riparian rights and how they handle their lakes and all of that says a lot. You know, and I think that it's if the light bulb's going off over your head and you're like, oh yeah, me and my wife look at we're on realtor.com all the time trying to find lower price deals, and we're running numbers on that. This is for you.
Mm-hmm. We know what too is interesting. I do this, and your guitar is a perfect example. We've talked about that a lot, that you've got another guitar and you're getting back into it. Now it's for years been on your mind. It's never gone away. So I think it's so cool that Troy's known this is going to be his end goal, because this stupid idea doesn't go away. Finally now he's committed, going, all right, I'm doing it. You know, that's good. I love that.
I'm not here to sell anything. I'm really not. If this is you, if you're sitting here looking around the room saying, yeah, this really is me, email support@landacademy.com and tell them Jack said this and that you want some type of promo code to get a bunch of money off. I'm causing all kinds of problems.
Oh,
for our staff.
thanks. Great. This is you're totally stepping. Well, great. I'm going to change the marketing campaigns next week. So here's what we're going to do. Thanks for stepping on he just
She's
jumped
right.
into my
Just
side of the business.
Just say, Jill, this is Jill's idea, not mine.
Yeah, great.
That would
thanks.
be better for me, actually.
Just talk to Christopher. That's
go.
all you need to know. All right. Oh my. Well, yeah. And on that note, by the way, speaking of wreaking havoc in relationships,
That's what this is? Wreaking havoc in a relationship?
Kind of.
With a promo code?
No, but no. You brought up something funny. You're like, I made a quick note about the top. You said, wonder what were the top 5 things that we talked about when we first got together. I think the first thing that you and I talked about was music. We agreed on music. And then I think it was travel. And I think real estate came in there somewhere. And at the bottom, what we didn't talk about, and thank goodness we were on the same page, but things you don't talk about when you just get with somebody is voting and kids.
Yeah. It turns out we're the same. We're very similar on that.
All 5 of these topics we agree on.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? So.
And that would be bad if one of those was really 180 degrees.
What's a topic that we totally, we should give one that we are 100% not on the same page?
Probably something like
I got one.
personal hygiene. And you listener can guess who's for it and who's against it.
Yeah, look at this and look at this. How many days have we had that shirt out? Just kidding.
This is a result of living with someone in 300 square feet for 4 months straight.
Yes. Yes, I do take his clothes and just wash them and put them right back, and he has no idea. Okay, so here's what I think. The one thing that that I don't think we agree on, which I think is comical, and it wreaks havoc in our daily existence.
Oh no, food. It's food.
Okay, we're done. That was it.
I will eat soup out of a can.
Yep. I've caught you
happily
eating the yuckiest things out of a can. Not heating them up. I'm like, that's gross.
Jill believes that. I've heard that French people believe this, but Jill believes that every meal is kind of like one meal closer to your death, and so you need to really make it count. It's really important. How it's presented is important.
That's probably right.
Where what color the tablecloth is important, and all of that.
Yeah, I do.
And so I have absolutely the other end of that completely.
Yeah, I do.
I think eating is a waste of time and incredibly inconvenient.
I have to say, in my defense, since we've been on this road trip now 3+ months, this is month 4, I've only broke out the placemats and cloth napkins twice in effort to make your life better.
That's nice. I've eaten out of a can 400 times, so
there is that.
I guess I'm kind of
to make
there.
my life worse.
Today's second topic is called Why Your Brand is So Important in Your Land Business. What is he talking about now? I don't have a brand.
Yeah, I have some questions about this too.
I'm just Jill DeWitt. I don't have a brand.
Yeah.
What are you trying to sell? Pepsi's a brand.
Yeah.
You do have a brand. And if you're younger in this audience as a young person, you know exactly what I'm talking about because we all have a brand. If you have a handle, mine's Jack Butella on Facebook, that's my brand. If you are buying land and selling land, but specifically buying land in the same area and have been for a lot of years, sent out lots of mail to maybe like the first 8 or 9 counties we have in tier 1 counties that we send mail to all the time. And Jill DeWitt's on the bottom of that letter, and they've received and maybe even spoken to Jill many times, or 1 time or 5 times. She's branding herself, and it's not a brand like Pepsi. I'm not talking about that. We're going to go get commercials and do campaigns and things like that. But it's your reputation. If you're my age, you call it reputation. If you're younger, you call it a brand. And so you need to make that work for you. If your brand is as a land buyer in 5 or 8 or 10 counties over a decade, people are going to start to talk about it. Neighbors are going to talk about it. They're going to say, who's this Jill DeWitt? Oh, I just talked to Jill, and she's fantastic. And actually, we've got some property way outside of town here that we're going to sell to her. Here's her number. That's a brand. your marketing and yourself and marketing a brand. So I'm not saying, oh my God, okay, I'm John Smith, I got to brand it, I got to go out and do something. All I'm asking you to do is be conscious, very conscious of the fact that you're part of a community, and they're going to perceive you your potential sellers are going to perceive you as such.
For me, this is just transparency. Like, this is one of the things that we talk about when you first join Land Academy. Put Land Investor on all your stuff. Go on your LinkedIn, go on your Facebook, Instagram, wherever you have social media out there, update it. So, because people will look you up. And so they know when they see. I'm glad that you have a day job. You know, you have your day job listed and all your accomplishments there and your experience there, which is awesome. And then add in there, you know, on the side, you have your own little, you know, add it as your occupation. You know, one of your things at the same time is CEO or founder or principal or whatever you want to call yourself, president of johnbuysland.com.
Jill and I are in Jackson Hole, Wyoming right now, and we, like many all across the country, last night we went and had dinner at a bar because I won. There's no tablecloth.
None.
And we intentionally seek out local bars that are not for tourists when we can. And last night we sat down next to a guy who's lived here for 5 or 8 years. And it always comes up eventually, usually after the third beer. What do you guys do? We buy and sell land. And then they launch their land story. Because everyone has a land or a house story or a real estate story. Some of them are really happy, some of them are kind of sad. In this guy's case, he does a lot of work for local people who own very expensive houses that have a lot of land. And so he went straight down the path of, listen, people want to sell me their land. What do I do? And so we started talking about that. Yeah. And so and we're Jack and Jill, and it is virtually unforgettable when you introduce yourself as Jack and Jill. 90% of the people really appreciate it. 10%, the curmudgeons out there, 10% think it's the stupidest thing they've ever heard, and that it's fake. So we hang out with the 90%. So he will remember us forever. And when next time he has that conversation, I hope he calls us and we'll look at it. And, you know, there could be a whole additional business model in there.
You know, I'll bet you money, by the way, because we're going to be hanging out here for a little bit. We kind of told him that. I bet he's going to be in that bar when he gets back in town every night looking for us. I knew that. I told him, I said, I know this is good. I said, you're going to go home. He's younger than us. And
a lot younger.
And I said, you're going to go home, and I know this is going to like totally marinate. You're going to wake up tomorrow and start putting things together.
Put deals together.
I know. And he's like,
going to create real estate deals.
He said, I'm already doing it. Like, we just planted this little seed about what's possible, and think about this way of doing it. Think about that way of doing it. And you know the people that want to sell. You also know the people that have money. Think about putting it together. And he's like, oh yeah. So super cool. That was a fun conversation. I love those, by the way.
In this case, you know, we branded Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
In that moment, for him anyway.
In that bar.
And who knows where that'll go.
Yeah. He knew a lot of people in that bar. It was kind of funny as it worked out. That helped us too, because we're at the end of the bar laughing for hours, and then all of a sudden we're getting better attention from the bartenders and everybody because he's buddies with them. Now we're getting like, so we can now we can walk in there and they'll take good care of us.
Let's take a look at another one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar.
Okay, would you do this deal on Jackson Highway here? Where are we? Lewis County, Washington, 20 acres. Accepted offer price $125,000. Thinks we could sell it for $200 at least. So affordability. So 10-acre Grocer Street just listed an hour ago for $175.
Wow.
Let's go find that comp.
Yeah.
The county owned land across the highway. County-owned land across the highway. Farms, timber, and houses nearby. Attribute fish-bearing stream and views of mountains near Lewis and Clark State Park. Everyone's alive. Property
Is wet.
is wet.
The FEMA.
Road frontage isn't as great as it seems. Guardrail extends over half. Okay, we need to drop a man down there.
So I just wanted to point this out. So I'm clicking on this FEMA thing, and I'm not. There's clearly a creek that goes through this property. It's obvious, and it's not. Oh, here it's a FEMA. Okay, so this is a gauge to see if property's wet. For whatever reason, that they're making this creek wet, and so that's fine. I'm just saying it's a stage one due diligence / acquisitions tool. If you can't completely rely on it, even though it comes completely right.
I bet if we drop a guy, if there's a bridge over there, that'll tell us too if there's any concern. Okay, so hold on a second.
So you're saying it's all wet. It's 100% wet. So
Ah,
this is way too much money to take a chance. It comes down to price now. So we need you're not really buying 20 acres. You might be buying 5.
I'm still not loving. I
I don't
can't
like
wrap
the
my head
price.
around 125.
Unless I would not buy for 125 and sell for 175. Would you on
No.
this property when it's all wet?
No.
And if it's 2 APNs, someone's going to end up. You got to sell them together because somebody's going to end up with all wet property.
This one's 1, right?
But the good news is that these numbers are fantastic.
Man,
so if you
can I
get it
get
a little
for
cheaper,
75?
yeah, something like that.
Like,
Exactly, Joe. That's a
shucks.
number I was thinking.
I can wrap my head around 75 if everything else pans out,
Because you can dump it for 100 if you needed to, especially with these comps.
right?
60 to 70 is even better.
But we need to zero in on that area. All right, that's my final.
So you have something inspirational to share with us?
So I didn't have anything prepared. So I thought I would just kind of see how today flowed and incorporating with how today was flowing and what's on my mind. And I was just going to, no, it's not a bad thing.
Please share your feelings with us.
It's not a bad thing. Everyone, we're going to talk about food for 10 minutes. I'm totally kidding.
Oh, thank God.
Totally kidding. Wouldn't that be funny if I said, let's talk food? No.
SpaghettiOs.
No, but
That's my answer to
no.
anything food.
Here's what I'd like to talk about with you. I thought this would be fun today. I want to revisit a conversation we were having this morning because I'm sure there are many people listening and watching right now that are doing the exact same thing. We're in our 50s and we're doing relatively well. And we can now start thinking bigger picture. I mean, not just bigger picture, but we're starting to think about the next 20 years, right? Where do we want to be? What do we want to do? How hard do we want to work? How many deals do we want to do? All this stuff. And it really comes down to, money, when to retire, how to retire, and then where you're going to live and what it's going to look like. And the big question is, are you on the same page with your partner? This is hard. This is really hard. And I just want to share that as close as we are, we have these struggles too. And you're probably not going to get all of them. And I want you to interject here. I want you to tell me your thoughts.
I'm not sure what your big picture point is here.
Well, are you on the same page with your partner?
Oh.
Is the whole thing. Are you on the same page with your partner, number one?
This is not about land at all.
No, it's not about land. This is inspirational. It's not about land. So are you on the same page with your partner? And then if you're not, maybe how can, it's kind of, for me, you know what the answer is for me? Pick your battles.
You know what the answer is for me? And this is really true. All kidding aside now. Jill and I have a certain screen presence, so we get questions about how do you guys get along like this? I mean, we get more and more as time goes on. We get more questions like that. And here's my answer. My canned answer is Jill and I, for whatever reason, if you look as far down the path as you can look socially and financially and relationship-wise and all of that.
Far down the path.
As far as you can possibly look down that road, Jill and I are absolutely and completely on the same page. How we get there, she has very different ideas. And so does that cause, in the bitter end, that yin and yang about how to get to that goal is very healthy. It's like, think of the first album that your favorite band put out was probably amazing because everybody was compromising. And then one of the band members eventually gets their way, the lead singer usually. And then all the rest of their music sucks because one guy got his way and there's no yin and yang.
I was thinking about this though. For me, the whole thing is we are on the same page. And how we get there is not always the same. And sometimes things change. So I'm thinking about this, what we're talking about today. We're talking retirement and money and what do we give the kids? What do we not leave the kids? He's like, let's leave them all this. And I'm like, screw the kids. That's where I'm at. I didn't get it. They don't get it.
Actual conversation right before this for some reason.
Yeah. I'm like, I think the kids are done. We've done some things for them. I think they're good.
They're going to get a bunch of real estate.
This is for us.
That's her answer.
It's going to happen, but it's going to be different. I'm not going to buy things. We bought some things intentionally for the kids. Not anymore now.
Yeah, they just don't. They don't see it.
No, they're fine. Now I want to buy some stuff for us, and then they can just have it later on and whatever.
She means
real estate.
Third and fourth houses.
Yeah. So then it comes down to, I'm going to bring it right back to Land Academy and bring it right back to you and your partner. There are many of you in Land Academy that are not doing this solo, right? Some of you are doing it like us, your couples. Some of you have other relatives that you're doing with this, which is amazing to me. And then some of you you just found a partner in Discord. You reached a person like, hey, I'm struggling with the data. You're a data nut. I am awesome on the phones. Let's work together. And that comes all the time. So the big thing is there's going to be times that you're not on the same page with your partner. One of you has to back down. Oh. That's my final thing on this. And
so true.
It is. And the thing about it is, it's not a keeping track. You shouldn't keep track. You shouldn't keep score. It's not that thing. But just be aware of it. And there's times that you're going to say, I really feel strongly about this, but they obviously feel stronger about it. And then is it going to matter 5 years from now,
No.
1 year from now?
Nope.
So I say there's times you're going to let them win. And because otherwise it's not going to work. And then the flip side is true. So I hope that this little conversation sparks a conversation with you and your partner to say, hey, let's all be aware of, we need to sometimes back down. We don't need to make decisions right now, but we all just make sure on the same page. There's times I want to have my way, you're going to have your way. It's all going to work out. Yep. I totally agree.
That's amazingly nice of you. I don't know how else to say it. That's
you have to. It's because you're never gonna get there. Otherwise, it resolves in breaking up the company.
I think that
You don't want to do that.
when there's less emotion, not more, and when there's some goal that you're trying to hit, you agree on that goal, and you're going about it with very little emotion, it's going to work for you.
Yeah, emotion gets in the way, even with men.
I know.
You guys,
Rage is an emotion. I've been told that by several people throughout my life.
Oh my goodness. Where did that come from? Did somebody bring that up recently?
No, I don't know. I just made it up.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's the tagline for today. Rage is an emotion. Why don't you just put that in the title? Join Land Academy, where they talk about rage is a real emotion.
Rage is an emotion too.
Oh my gosh. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, just get mad. Oh my gosh. Let's move on. Jack, what do you have to share with us today?
My topic is called being successful through very intentional acts to a very specific end. You do not want in your life you don't want to just walk through life and let stuff happen to you.
True.
You don't. There's all the self-help stuff out there, under the heading, enjoy the day, live in the now, the art of not caring and all that. That's all a bunch of garbage. You need to care.
The art of not caring.
The art of not giving a SHIT.
Right.
There's a book like that.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
very,
there is.
Very
There is.
popular.
That's true.
And so, no, I
funny.
think you should give a huge SHIT about what happens to you and what happens to your life. When you wake up in the morning, and whatever you end up doing that day, you have control over it for the most part. If you don't, you need to start making changes about that now. Whether it's changing your financial situation or your social situation or any of that stuff, because you're not going to get to the top of the financial pyramid. If you were part of our Thursday call last week, you know exactly what I'm talking about, by letting stuff happen to you or by buying a lottery ticket. Buying a lottery ticket winning the lottery is not going to happen to you. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
You need to intentionally put things in a calendar that you do with intent to reach some very specific end. For me, it's getting mailers out and doing podcasts and things like that. And for Jill, it might be a little bit different, but she has the same calendar that I do. And so I can see what she's working on and where she's going with it. I don't have anything to say about it ever. I don't need to, because she wants to get to that place that I talked about earlier, way, way down the road in her own way. And she's she has proven over and over and over again that the little goals that she's sets for herself, she hits them. And it's all toward that big, long goal. And she does it differently. So you have to intentionally act, and it has to be to some very specific end, in my opinion. And those things, that the end of that long road is a pile of money for us, and a happy relationship. And really, it's not any more complicated than that.
I want to add, I hope you're really listening to this, because you gave me that speech, and I'm way better, night and day better than I was when we first got together about stuff like this. You did teach me a lot about, I'd wake up every day. This is totally truth. And Jack thought it was cute in the beginning, and then he thought it was stupid later on. Because I'd wake up and just kind of decide that day how I felt and what was going to happen. Like, I don't feel like doing that today. I feel like doing this today.
I'm going to share a cute anecdote.
And Jack would be like, you can't get anywhere like that. I'm like, why? It's worked out just fine right now. And then, but then as we got together and we started to see what's possible and doing deals and the writing on the wall, and I'm like, oh, he's right. If I really get more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like holding myself accountable, and you said intentional. I love that. But there's another word I'm talking about. Just sticking to it, man. Setting it up and making yourself do it.
Implementation.
Yeah. And just again, holding it it may suck today. Who cares how you feel? Get it done. Because this is part of what you're doing. This is step 3 right now of 10. And you've got to get through 3 to get to 10. So I want to just give you a little compliment back, because you are super good at that. And you've even helped me. And I find myself now, I regurgitate you on that when I talk to other people.
Regurgitate's a nice word.
It is a really nice word. not regurgitate.
Like a mom bird.
Like spit up. I spit up what you said.
Here, I'm going to tell you it's cute now, anecdote about Jill and I in the beginning. So,
oh no.
Now, and I'll skip to the end. When we have time off now, it's in the calendar.
Oh, that's true.
So, or when Jill very often on Friday, Jill will put in the calendar from 10 o'clock in the morning to 4. It'll say Jill time, or it'll say spa time, or it'll say shopping in a cute little town. And, none of those things she stopped inviting me a decade ago to this stuff because I don't want to do it. And so her free time that's what happens. And I accept it. I accept the invitation as not accepted to join her, but accepted that, I get it.
Acknowledge
and that's where you're going to be. And then I'll go do that version for me. And so it's important I think for us, it's important for us, it might not be for you, to schedule that, so then you don't have to think about, then you don't feel bad about walking around Jackson Hole and buying a necklace or whatever Jill does, and like, oh God, I should be at work, or I should be doing something. That for those 5 hours, she does whatever she wants. That's really, really a mental health thing for me. When Jill and I got together, she was still working. I was not. I was buying and selling land myself. We had no intention of professionally ever doing the same stuff. As it got more and more evident to both of us that we should join forces and she should quit her job, of course, we started calendaring stuff together. And she worked for, American Airlines for 18 years, 19 years. And so vacation time on those specific vacation days, like Labor Day and whatever, and all that stuff, it was all by her employer dictated. Right. And so I would, book work days on Labor Day, because Labor Day and a regular Wednesday from a time standpoint are the same to me. In fact, I'm realizing now at this age, I want to work on Labor Day because all the schmoes are out. Yeah. All the whack jobs, and we don't need that. But she would blow her top. Yep. That I would schedule a bunch of stuff for us to do professionally on Labor Day, even though even though the same thing for her, it was Wednesdays the same as Labor Day, but it was so ingrained in her. This is really relevant to this topic.
True.
It was so embedded in her soul that holidays are days off. Regardless of whether or not you run your own shop, regardless of you're your own employer, regardless of the fact that you have 10 million bucks in the bank, any of that stuff. Nope, Labor Day, we're taking it off. It took a long time for me to say, dude,
It's Monday. It's just another Monday.
that's it. Saturday's the same as Wednesday. Wednesday's the same as Sunday for us. And if it's in the calendar that we're working, or is it in the calendar that we're going to see a movie? Both of those things are in the calendar, by the way. And whether or not we do it on Labor Day or not, I don't care.
Yeah.
Are you good now?
Funny. Oh, I'm over it. I'm
I know
already
you are.
over it now.
I'm just poking fun.
I forget. Now I go.
Long over it.
Here's the only thing that comes up now is like we're out traveling. I'm like, hey, but keep in mind, heads up, it's going to be a party weekend because everybody has, a 3-day weekend. So it's going to be. We may want to work and not be involved in the.
She calls it
hoopla.
2 Saturday nights.
Yes.
Saturday night is the worst night.
Yep. They get Saturday night times 2.
And when you have 2 Saturday nights in a row, you don't want to be around that.
I know.
I don't want to be around.
Thank goodness the full moon was the other night, so we got that out of the way. When you have 2 Saturday nights in a row, and then you have a full moon out there, don't be on the roads. Don't be out.
Yep.
We all know.
Go to a movie.
Yeah.
That's a great time to go see a movie.
Totally. Cook, stay in. All right. So don't forget, you can reach us for questions and help simply by texting 480-530-7383.
Join us next Wednesday for another interesting episode. Buy land, sell it for more. On the internet, usually a lot more.
That's us.
We are Jack and Jill. Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you find our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.